Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of We Will Start That Over. That's all, folks.
That's exactly what I thought.
Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of the Disc Golf Answer. I am Bobby Cool Daddy Slick Breeze, and we don't have Eric Where You At McCabe, and we'll explain later.
Where you at?
But we do have Robert. We going to Arizona McCall.
We going.
So we had some technical difficulties, and my mixer board is dying, and one of my XLR ports is not working. So Eric said, well, I've got a lot of course design work to do. So he stepped out. And it's just me and Robert McCall on this episode. Robert McCall and I are headed to Arizona for the Memorial Championships. We will be me, Danny, and Anthony are heading out there Saturday, and Brian Shintaco, and then Jeremy and Robert are flying out there Monday. But we're going to spend the entire week out in Arizona. We're going to be capturing all kinds of good content in the bags, in the mine, practice rounds. Danny's going to work with some of our players to create some more stuff for Physics of Flight. So I'm gonna be, and then I've got photography. I even bought a double shoulder harness so I can carry two cameras.
Man, you crazy!
I'm gonna have my Sony A9. I'm gonna have the Dynamic Discs Sony A9. And then I'm gonna have my Sony A7 III. One's gonna have the zoom lens. One's gonna have the close up lens. Somebody like, oh, you're far away. Click, click. Oh, you're right here up on me.
Pop,
click,
pop.
click. Boom.
Boom.
All kinds of photos. So
That sounds awesome.
I'm excited. I am excited to get away from the 30-degree weather.
Yeah, and the snow and ice that's about to hit tonight.
The snow and snow and ice. And I will admit, even though it would have been nice to see some disc golf, I'm not too disappointed in not going to Vegas Challenge after finding out that they're actually getting snow there.
No,
Is it
thanks
snow
on that.
often in Vegas?
No, the weather hasn't been great there the last few years, though. Like, it'll be super windy and
I
cold.
remember 2
and
years
stuff,
ago
yeah.
when we went, it was pretty cold.
Yeah.
In
Well,
the
last
morning.
year, I remember Melton was telling me on a couple of approaches, his disc hit by the basket and stood up and just rolled for like a couple hundred feet because it was so windy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no thanks on that.
Yeah, no thanks on that.
That's gonna be a hard pass for me.
So we are super excited to do that, and we will not be. We won't do an episode next week because I won't take my gear. Of course, now I'm gonna have to order a new mixer board, but we will not take our gear to do. No, we are taking some stuff for audio recording because I was going to do some stuff with the players. So we might have.
Maybe we'll just hop on the mic just to have a good time, you know?
hop on the mic.
Yeah, just enjoy ourselves.
I know one Arizona trip. I think I interviewed all the players. I had a mic in my hand and interviewed a player. So we might do something
that was cool.
something similar like that. So
Alternately, there will be more Mexican food out there than there is here. First episode of Tacos. Get ready.
I actually think we could do it this week. I was thinking about trying some tacos here and having us meet here and talk.
Dude, Marmol,
Tacos.
let's get it.
Would we do live YouTube or just audio?
I don't know, man. We got to think about it.
It couldn't go on DD's channel because this is obviously not disc golf. This
Nah.
is tacos.
Yeah.
It could go on.
It could go on the Taco channel.
Oh, we'd make a whole YouTube channel.
Taco channel.
Have you looked to see if there's a taco YouTube channel?
Spelled like that? Probably not. Taco.
YouTube taco.
There's
Show.
one called the Taco, like it's a
The Taco Show, the Juicy interview. That was 7 years ago.
but there's one called the Taco, but not with CO on the end, just like the word talk and then O on the end. It's like a celebrity whatever thing
On YouTube or?
on YouTube.
Oh, well.
I also just realized that I changed off of the live chat, so let me just get back to that. My bad.
All right.
That's my bad.
All right. So enough taco talk.
Yeah,
This is disc golf
let's
talk.
get to disc golf talk.
All right. So let's get the show started. Here we go. I actually am already recording.
Yeah, we're rolling.
That's right. I forgot. We were already going.
Joe suggested that we do it on my Instagram. Good idea, Joe. You can follow me at JRobert.
Is this going to be 1 minute long segments?
Yeah, that's right.
All right. So let's hop into the questions. Remember, guys, as always, you can send your questions to Disc Golf Answer Man. We can get them on the air and we will answer them for you. I am trying to find my place here. First one comes from Whoa. I think they do this on purpose. So
Whoa.
they try to make me, maybe not. Here we go. Vallatino
Yeah, okay.
Ostamancientiosen.
Yeah, I think that's it. I can't see it.
Postal
So
Maneciente. I'll chat it to you.
yeah, hit me with that.
See what you would say it is. It's questions on grip. If each of you had to lose the same 3 fingers on both hands, what 3 fingers would it be? What? What kind of question is that?
I mean, I guess I would leave my thumb and index finger. Those are pretty important.
No 4 hands allowed?
What?
That's what it says.
Okay, well, I mean, yeah, I guess I'd lose my pinky, ring finger, and middle finger, and just go with the
we'll just go with your
2-finger grip.
I guess. So.
Gosh.
See if you can say that name real quick.
But I don't want to lose my fingers. Did you text it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, there's no way that's real.
Yeah. Is that another Danny submission? You should have seen the look on his face.
He says no with a guilty conscience.
Since I ruined his joke last time, he's like, I'm not doing that again. I'm not wasting my time. All right, next question comes from Man Dude Bro from Fort Collins, Colorado.
This is Man Dude Bro.
I got 22 dynamic discs, 4 Latitude 64 discs, and 4 Westside discs for Christmas. Wow.
Sweet.
I have played for about a year, but very sparingly. I aspire to become really good at disc golf. So my question is, how should I start practicing to get my form and distance up? Should I start throwing putters only and then move up, or practice with all of them? Putters, mids, fairways, and distance. Thanks for advice. Love this podcast.
If you're just, did you say he was just starting out, like brand new starting out, or he's been playing for a little while?
I've played for about a year.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's good to start with slower speed discs, putters, and mid-ranges. Focus in on those, especially ones that aren't super overstable. That's going to help you to learn clean form, and that's what's going to take you from being an okay disc golfer to a better disc golfer. That's what you got to do. Once you feel good about those, once you can get a good release on those and say, you're throwing those mids, 250, 270, somewhere in there, or maybe even a little earlier than that, you can step up to a fairway driver, step up to a distance driver, things like that. But starting with slower speed discs, I think, is a good idea for everybody, just because it helps you to learn form a little bit more efficiently.
There you go. Next one comes from Yelty.
Yeah.
Hi, Disc Golf Fans, man, Trio plus Anthony and Danny. I've currently added the Ballista Pro to my bag after this was recommended by Robert.
Nice. So
a little shout out to him for giving me great advice. I've added about 15 to 20 meters, that's about 50 to 65 feet, more to my backhand throws. Now I need to fine tune my backhand form. This mold just bombs.
Yeah, it really does.
I guess Thomas must be very proud of this disc. Oh, thanks all for all you do, and please do more coverage. I really like watching Cedar Hill. Yeah,
100%. The Ballista Pro is a super bomber. That for me gave me probably not quite as much distance as you were talking about there, Yelta, but I don't know. I probably gained 30-ish feet over an Enforcer, which I was throwing for distance at the time. So it's a great mold. I like it.
All right. So here's the question. I figured it would be first on the list, but it has now come up.
Yeah, let's get it.
This one is saying, I'm really wondering how Dynamic Discs feels about the Latitude 64 partnership with Discmania.
Sure.
Are you worried it will impact DD's ability to remain fully stocked with inventory? Was Rusco consulted? I know you will give vague answers, but I thought I'd try. Thanks for all the great disc golf media.
Right. Great question. You want me to handle it, or you want to?
Did something happen? I didn't hear anything.
Yeah, especially not on the internet or
yeah.
Facebook. People didn't freak out about anything.
Okay, real quick break for YouTube. Yes, YouTubers, if you're brand new to YouTube, we answer questions that were submitted to the website Disc Golf Answer Man Show, because this is the audio. This is actually a live broadcast of the audio recording. Once we're done with our show, the audio show, then we'll hop back on for YouTube and answer y'all's questions. So keep those questions, and then we will get to them after the audio show, if that makes any sense. So back to, and actually that question came up in the
chat.
So talk about your thoughts. He's gonna keep it real.
Turning on the keep it real.
Keep it real. Oh, someone flipped that keep it real light on.
Yeah, thank you, Chaser. You know what's going on. Okay, so to answer your question, yes, Jeremy was consulted about this a while ago. He was, I think he was just brought into the loop so all parties involved could have a good understanding of what was going to happen. From what I understand, this will not affect our stock as far as being able to keep stock on our shelves here at the distribution center. the machine time that we've had will still be the same as it has been in years past. How it affects DD, I think one of the cool things about how this whole thing happened, and it wasn't really anything that we did when this specific Discmania Latitude deal happened, but just something that I think speaks to something cool, is that when we went looking for manufacturing, we ended up with Latitude 64 in Sweden, and we chose them because we thought their distribution center was, that their manufacturing was the best in the world. We've had a great partnership since, and so when Discmania started looking for someone else to manufacture a line of their discs, I think it's cool that they chose the manufacturer that we use as well. I think it just proves that there's good quality products made by a lot of companies, and that Latitude products are, high quality. And so as far as how it affects our team players, we won't have our team players throw Discmania discs. Discmania intends to remain a standalone company who are going to have discs manufactured by different manufacturers, but all under their name. And so you won't see, Zach Melton throwing a PD2 or, I think Instinct is the new disc that they came out with. As of now, you won't see him throwing that. We will still throw the same discs that we always have. Their players will still throw the same discs that they always have with those new additions, but not looping into Latitude 64, DD, or Westside, as I understand it.
There you go.
So, yeah. It's a big, complicated thing, but I think people are making a bigger deal out of it than it actually is.
Well, it is.
It's a big deal.
It's a big deal, and it's a little confusing because if you think about it, we were just a company, Dynamic Discs, that were having Latitude 64 manufacture our discs,
right?
Just like other companies have other bigger companies manufacture their discs. We took on a different stance because we wanted to make a big impact on the U.S. market with Latitude and Westside, and we said, okay, all three of us, we're gonna take this on together,
right? And we'll be the sole distribution.
We're gonna be the sole distributor for it, and where I lost my train of thought. So yeah, we became the distributor.
Yeah.
We told Lat, we was like, man, we know what we're doing. We're good at what we're doing. Let us become a distributor for your plastic.
Yeah,
all three of it. And they said okay, and then our thinking was okay. Then we're all going to come together. We're going to push these three brands. And so for another brand to come along and say, hey, we want Latitude 64 factory to create the discs, people kind of naturally assumed that we were all going to work together like the three brands were, but that's not the case. It's just the brand seeking a manufacturer to make some discs. Yeah. They happen to be a place where we get our discs made, and we've made a sort of a partnership, or as a lot of people dub us, the trilogy. So
right, and a bunch of people were asking, is this going to be they said quadrilogy and tetralogy?
No.
Those were the names that were thrown out there. No, like I said, Discmania intends to remain a standalone company, and we will still retain our partnership with Latitude 64 and our joint ownership of Westside Discs.
Absolutely. Next question comes from Jackson from MT
Montana.
Yeah. Got lost in the abbreviations there.
Oh, here. Sorry.
Oh, there. That's what it was.
Got to click it back off.
The keep it real light was in my face.
That was still on. It's very bright.
Please don't forget to turn that off next time. In league play, in a car, and well, gosh.
Yeah, roll it back.
In league play, and a card mate called time on me while I was waiting to putt. I was up for putting, but the previous player hadn't cleared the basket, and his disc was hanging in the change. He was arranging the discs in his bag and wiping snow off his upshot disc, then went and cleared the basket. I'm wondering if the clock rule applies to people to clear the basket as well, or if my clock starts when the basket is cleared, or if I only have the 30 seconds regardless of the basket, if the basket is cleared.
Right. So, yeah, definitely can't call clock on somebody who is waiting to putt because there's the putter in the chains. I believe how the rule reads without looking it up is that once you approach your lie, you have 30 seconds to throw your shot once distractions have cleared. I'm pretty sure it reads something along those lines. So if somebody is, wiping off their disc, especially if you're playing in snow, you guys know how not fun that can be to play in snow. So if they're doing that and the putter's hanging in the chains, don't rush to putt into it. I don't think that's a good play. But your time doesn't start until distractions are cleared, and I would call a disc and chains a distraction. Like you're responsible to remove that putter from the chains.
Yeah.
Once they've done that and they're away from the basket, then I would say that's when your time starts. So no, I definitely would not call that a legitimate time call on you.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Next one is from Brandon. Hey, Disc Golf Answer Man family. My question is related to Westside Discs. I have a VIP Pine, a VIP Tersus, and a VIP Warship as my mid-range
Digging
discs.
the mids. Nice.
Are the Pine and Warship different enough to warrant carrying both of these discs? Or should I look at replacing one of these with a different mid-range disc? I find the Warship to be stable to slightly unstable for me, the Tersus to be very unstable, and the Pine to be stable to slightly overstable. Thanks for all you do.
Sweet.
I haven't thrown, I've thrown them just like for testing and video, but the Tersus I can attest is understable.
Yep.
But what I've always loved about the Tersus is that it comes back.
Mm-hmm.
It fades back.
Yeah, it depends on how fast you throw it, definitely.
Sure.
But yeah, I think those discs would be great to cover your mid-range slots. I mean, Eric's not sitting here, but if he was, he'd say, you should try an EMAC Truth. So
Right.
just in case you weren't aware of that, you should try one out. But yeah, the Pine covers that overstable to straight and headwinds or kind of any winds disc. I think the Warship is really underrated and very versatile. It goes farther than almost any other mid that I've thrown. It's got a slightly wider rim and it's pretty cool. And then the Tersus I like for that understable stuff. So I don't think you need to check anything else out unless, like I said, you're going to try an EMAC Truth. Somebody on the chat brought up something that I think is worthwhile. Chaser said he's also asking if there's a clock for somebody to clean out their disc from the basket. Okay. As far as I understand, there is not. But it's just, I don't know. You're just trying to be courteous at that point. And so I think it's just common sense to not take forever to get your stuff back together. I don't know. That's what I would say.
All right, next one comes from Jeff from Mitten, from the Mitten.
Nice.
Is that like a place, the nickname for a place?
Yeah.
Like the Panhandle of Oklahoma type thing?
It's something like that, but I think it's somewhere up in the north.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Hey, Bobby Cool, Daddy Slick Breeze, Eric 1100 rated course designer McCabe, and Robert Mr. Suave.
Oh, sweet.
McCall.
Nice.
I'll be moving to the Charleston area for work from Michigan. Is Michigan the
There
mitten?
you go.
Okay. Is it like shaped like a mitten?
I guess so. I don't know.
Like a kitten mitten?
I'm not great at geography.
Like a written kitten mitten?
You got more?
Like a smitten written kitten mitten?
Hey, that was pretty solid.
The difference in sanctioned tournaments is astounding. If I were to start running sanctioned tournaments, would I be able to compete as well? Or do I give up on playing as many tournaments so I can help grow the tournament scene in the area? Thanks for everything y'all do. And as always, keep it real.
Turn it back off. But just to keep it real for a second. There are a lot of people I know who run tournaments who participate in them as well as a player. Usually those people have...
You got to be careful.
Yeah, usually those people have help, though. If you are the sole tournament director and you're also playing in the event, that's going to be really tough, and I would recommend against that. But if you're running, a smaller tournament, a C or a B tier, and you have good volunteers to help back you up and to collect cards and count those in between rounds and things like that, you could play in that tournament. I would not recommend it every time. I certainly would not recommend it your first few times, just so you can run a smooth event, because people care a lot more about that than they do about you getting to play the event, unfortunately.
Gotcha.
But good for you and good on you for thinking about running some tournaments. Get a few of those under your belt, and then you can see what it's like to play one of them once you have some volunteers to help you out.
So someone on the chat says the main part of Michigan is shaped like a mitten.
There you go.
So if the cat got into a fight, would he be a smitten, written, kitten mitten who's been bitten?
Oh my gosh. You did it.
That was good.
You did. That was solid.
That was good.
That was solid.
All right. Let's see. What's something that's just from Dalton? What's something that will compare to a sheriff in a fairway driver?
Sheriff.
Get yourself a sheriff.
You know what I think is kind of like a sheriff and a fairway driver is the convict, lucid convict.
Yeah.
One thing that I liked about the sheriff is that it had a decent bit of turn, but it usually had some fade at the end unless you just absolutely cranked it over. And that's kind of how the convict flies for me. I'll throw it on some hyzer. It'll get to flat and move a little bit right, and then always have some fade. And so if it was up to me, I'd say, yeah, convict is probably a good choice for you. Signature disc of four-time world champion Paige Pierce. I mean, if she does it, it's probably pretty good.
It's probably pretty good.
More than likely.
Yeah.
It's
Is that
good.
old? Can we say that this year?
Oh, I'm sure they still say it.
Oh, they still say it. Okay.
Yeah, probably.
All right, so this one says, "What's up? What's happening, Bobby? Cool, Daddy, Slick Breeze." And then in parentheses it says, "Inserts audio."
Oh my gosh.
Eric's sweetness.
Oh, wait.
Yes, in your face.
Hey,
In your
cool
face.
Daddy, Slick Breeze.
Did you save that audio just forever?
Yeah.
It's fair.
Maybe.
Insert audio here.
All right. It says that. Let's see. Eric and the other guy. Ooh.
Okay. Well, go from Mr. Suave to the other guy.
I know.
That's-
Was curious
pretty
what blend of plastic the aviators are made of. I throw a lot of frisbee with my dog Pippin and have experimented with a lot of different brands of frisbees. The aviator stands alone in the durability category.
Yep.
Man.
category.
I've seen Pippin put a hole in an Ultra Star on the first throw, but the aviator tends to last at least a couple months. What plastic blend makes it so tough? I believe it's a blend that they don't use for regular plastic or regular discs, right?
It was created specifically for that, and
Yeah.
that's the only mold that we use it in.
Yep.
So it's a secret.
It's a secret. Pippin equals the best dog name ever.
That is a good dog name.
David's message was retracted, so I'm not sure. Maybe David made fun of us.
I mean, we prefer, Bobby and I prefer Walter for a dog name and Sebastian.
Sebastian.
Yeah, they're both good.
So funny last night when Walter came over, I couldn't figure out why they were like really staring at me, and I looked over and the water they needed more water.
Oh, yeah.
So I put the water, as soon as I put it down and I took that picture, both of them had their faces in there. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. When Walter came back over to our house, he did that too. More.
Oh, just more
Yeah.
drinking water? Yeah. They
Like he's never drank water in
like
his whole
toward
life.
the end there, they were like
Oh,
running
just
from the
darting.
kitchen to
Yes.
the living room to the kitchen to the living room.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Eric interjects Ralph and Maverick are also good
Oh, yeah,
dog
Ralph and
names.
Maverick.
I'll agree.
This question is from Mark. Hello, Disc Golf Fans, man. I have a disc origin question. Oh, Eric, if you're still watching, here you go. I have an origin question that Eric should be able to answer easily. My first tournament win came in 2016 at a Trilogy Challenge event. I was actually put super pumped, but I'm sure he meant super pumped.
Probably.
Since I owned a very few discs, and as a perk, I won a bag full of discs as well as the Deco Die trophy disc. Now that I've been playing for a few years, I'm getting into collecting discs. Eric, can you tell me how early of an EMAC run is the 2016 Deco Die Truth? It has your signature stamp on the bottom of the disc.
I mean, I can help you with that.
Can you tell me how early of an EMAC run is? Okay, yeah, go.
Well, I mean, if you got it in 2016, then it was probably made in 2016. The earliest EMACs were made in, Eric, you can correct me, 14? I think that's right. A couple of years before that. And so it's not a first run or anything like that. But it is, it's now probably 3 years old. So I wouldn't say it has like huge collector value, but it's not what you would get off the shelf today. It's certainly a different production run than that. Yeah.
While we wait for Eric's answer, hopefully he's still listening or watching the show. I want to make sure to remind everybody that Trilogy Challenges, to register to run a Trilogy challenge, that has been opened up, and we already have close to 80, I believe I asked to play. Yeah,
That's awesome.
So we're doing really good, but you want to make sure you get into there to run a Trilogy Challenge. That's where you get to try. Well, as the person that hosts a Trilogy Challenge, you order the players packs and you get them, and it's 3 discs, and then you have your players come out and they pay the fee to play. And I can't remember what it is this year, but you get 3 discs, a T-shirt, scorecards, a mini, and did I say T-shirt? Yep. The 3 discs are the Dynamic Discs Vandal, which is the driver, the West Side Gatekeeper,
Yep.
which is the putter.
Yep.
And
that's the mid-range.
That's the mid-range, and the Latitude 64 Keystone, which is the putter.
Yep.
So you get brand new discs that are not being released in those particular plastics, and you get to try them out. And a lot of people, they fall in love with a specific disc. Like me, what I'll probably end up doing is I'll probably find out people that don't like the Vandal but like something else, and I'll trade them for something else, just like I did with the Deputy. By the time we were about halfway through the Trilogy Challenge where the Deputy was, I had like 12 Deputies, because most people just kind of gave them to me because they weren't using them.
You had accrued multiple deputies at that point.
So trilogychallenge.com, check it out. One more thing, United States Amateur Match Play Championships. It was huge last year. It's going to be huge. It's going to be huge this year. We're giving away 18 veteran baskets and discs for life, asterisks, 10 years. You can win discs, but it's going to be awesome. You play local brackets in your area. It's cool. It's fun. It's match play format, which makes it very interesting because if you think someone is going to win, they may not be the person that wins in match play. So really cool stuff. We're going to have a lot of fun with that on Facebook and YouTube. But you can sign up right now to get a bracket started. Or if you want to play in a bracket, go to discgolfmatchplay.com and get information on that. Caleb says, I'm excited for USA NPC, and I am as well.
It's going to be awesome.
Agree with you, Caleb.
The discs for this year are super cool.
Oh, yes. You get a, what do you get?
Lucid X Escape.
See, you get a disc that you can't get a Lucid X. Everybody is loving the stiffer plastic of the Lucid X, and you get an Escape, a very unsung hero of the disc golf world.
Yeah, and I think it's going to have just that little bit of stretch, over a traditional fairway driver with a little bit of added stability. So I think people are going to love that. And then a medium Keystone. And the Keystone is like, man, it's so good to throw. Just really easy to throw straight. You can work it to the right if you want to. You can have it hold hyzer if you want to, but I was just starting it on a very small amount of hyzer and letting it stand up straight, and it would just go. And it's a great disc. So yeah, check that out for sure if you have not already. And if there's not one in your area, you can run one. US Amateur Match Play Championship has to be the easiest event to run because you just say, hey, do you want to play? Okay, sign up on UDisc. Hey, you want to play? Sign up on UDisc. You do this with 16 people. Once they've all signed up, they pay through there as well. You don't have to collect money. You press a button to randomize the bracket. You receive the discs and get them to people, and that's it. It's easy, easy, easy.
Someone asks, has anybody able to test the Lucid X Escape? I have not been able to throw it. I
Not
have
yet.
held it in my hand, though.
It feels
And
fantastic.
and just that it's the, wait, do they get the one that I saw, the ice one?
Yes.
That's the one they get?
I'm pretty sure.
You sure?
I'm pretty sure. There was like stacks on stacks of
People are
those
going to go
Lucid
crazy.
X.
It's
Yeah,
when I say ice,
clear.
it's the clear, super clear one. There's just something really cool about it.
Yeah. Super fast. Paul on
Sunday. Super fast.
super fast.
Super fast FAQ.
Paul on the board says, is a player allowed to play in multiple match play events? What happens if someone advances in more than one? Taco, you can just give it to me. Thanks. Yes, you can. You can play in multiple match play events. If you win one, don't play another one because it's kind of a waste. Unless you really just want to get the discs. But if you were to somehow win two, then the person who got second would move on in the next thing. But don't do that. Just win one and then be done, unless you want to get another set of discs. And then, yeah.
Okay, we said something wrong. Eric McCabe is correcting us. The ice ones are for GBO.
Ah, sorry.
But you still will have Lucid X Escapes for USA and PC.
But if you're coming to GBO, come on, dude.
This is why we
Those
don't
Lucid
say
X Escapes are incredible. They look beautiful.
All right, next question comes from Matthew. Was currently playing a casual round on a 280-foot par 3 across water. My drive struck a tree near the green and landed in the water. It did not look like it ever crossed land, but the tree it hit was inbounds. Was just curious the correct way to play this. Would I need to re-tee or just play my stroke and play from, or just take my stroke and play from near where it went in? Thanks for promoting the sport we all love.
All right. I want to look this up to make sure that I'm saying the right thing, because I had heard before if you hit a tree that's inbounds, but your disc doesn't cross inbounds, you play it as if you hit the tree. But I don't think that's correct. I heard that when I very, very first started playing disc golf.
So what you're saying, okay, so what the scenario is that, so the rule is, what's the rule? If you throw something out of bounds and it is such a way where it goes inbounds at some certain point, then your lie is within the inbounds area. But in this case, the tree is overhanging to where it would have, he's saying that if it hit the tree,
It would have
where it hit the tree was in bounds, but it kicked it out of bounds.
No.
That is not what he is saying.
If it was
Don't listen to
in
this.
bounds, then that would be fine. You'd take it up there. But what he's saying is that the tree itself is in bounds, but the part of the tree that he hit, like a branch or something,
then no, it would be out of bounds.
was out of bounds. And I'm pretty sure that's correct as well. I want to super double check just to make sure that I'm not saying anything wrong. But yeah, I think it has to physically cross inbounds in order to be considered inbounds. What even if that's extremely unfortunate and now you have to take it all the way back and almost re-tee, that's it. Sorry, man.
So Mike asks
Life's
on the
hard.
board, where do I find those Lucid X Escapes at GBO? Mike, I think you answered your question. You find them at GBO.
You're just going to want to go to GBO,
You're going to want to go to GBO.
and then they'll be there.
Be there.
There
I
you
think
go.
that's what you're asking. Next question comes from Trevor.
But
Oh,
really
you
the
want-
retail store probably.
This is for disc golf or disc golf strong. I need to give that to Seth, who's killing it, by the way. Download that disc golf strong app. Get on there and start. I see people already saying they felt improvements in their health and in their play just from doing a few weeks of the Disc Golf Strong app. So check that out on the App Store, Google Play. This one is from Trevor. So I've been a forehand dominant player the entire time I've played. I almost always drive using forehand. I've been doing mid-range and putting backhand. Is there a putter in mid-range specifically developed for forehand putting? Sometimes if you have the right line for a forehand approach or putt, I want to forehand, but have struggled with clean release on bigger profile discs.
So made specifically for forehands, no. But there are some discs that I think work better for forehands. And generally they're the more overstable discs that have kind of a flatter top and not as tall of a profile. Even though the Harp's kind of tall, I think the Harp fits that bill. Same with like a Slammer or a Cenas, something in that family. I have not seen a whole lot of success with people forehanding, you know, judges and wardens and stuff like that. But if I'm in the woods and my only play to the basket is to just try and, you know, throw a short forehand putt, you know, a 30-foot forehand putt, then I'll just kind of try and throw it like I'm throwing an ultimate Frisbee. Just kind of pop my wrist and not try and overpower it. So to answer your question, I don't think there are ones specifically made for forehands, but I do think some work better than others. Usually they're the flatter, more overstable putters.
There you go. Next one is from Kyle. Hey, Disc Golf Answer Man crew. I have a question on testing behind new discs. Oh, this is Kyle. This is a often brought up question when it comes to discs and speed and flight and all that.
Let's get it.
I was wondering if the discs are the disc is thrown from a machine so you can get the perfect throw each time and get the best idea of how it flies.
Right.
We've gone over that multiple times.
And the answer is no.
Kyle. Send the new disc out to some pros and get all the feedback to help come up with an idea of the flight, or mostly rely on how the disc is molded and how they tell it should fly like, or none of these. Any insight of this subject would be great. As always, keep it real. All right, Kyle, well, I'm going to keep it real on the machine. No, there is no machine. We've gone over this multiple times. And it's just kind of, and I'm only saying it because there's a lot of back and forth. Yes, it would be wonderful if a machine could throw a disc the same way, but not every manufacturer is going to have the same machine. Not every manufacturer is going to have the same environment with which to throw the disc. Because if we were outside here in Kansas and we had a machine throw it, and someone over in a state where there's hardly any wind and they throw the discs, it's going to react differently because of the wind. So what you can maybe say, well, we'll throw it inside. Well, where are we going to find where's everybody going to have a huge stadium to throw it inside? You're just never going to have the exact
like perfect
elements and situation to where that is doable.
Yeah, to where across the board it's uniform. It's just not going to happen.
Right. Do we send the new disc out to some pros?
Yeah.
We do that.
Yeah, and so okay. So I think the third part of the question was, is it determined by how what the mold is supposed to do is how we determine the flight? Yeah. So I think you're kind of probably talking chicken and an egg there. So the way that we mold discs is we have a flight in mind, right? We say, we want a disc to do this, you know, we want, like when we were talking about the Maverick, we wanted something, a slower fairway driver that was straight to slightly understable. So we send that to Thomas, and then he goes into his magic laboratory of magic. I don't really know what it is, but he draws it up, right? Because he's designed discs for years and years now. He knows in order for that to happen, the underside of the rim needs to look like this. The flight plate needs to look like this. The parting line height needs to be this, things like that. And he makes what he thinks is going to be the best replication of what we sent to him. Then they will test that in Sweden, usually just to see, is it anywhere close? Most of the time it is, because he's good at what he does. Then he'll send those to us, and we'll test them and say, okay, that is exactly what we want. Let's run it. Or, hey, that's less stable than what we want. That's more stable than what we want. So in order to say that we're entirely dependent on, you know, the flight to be made by the machine, yes, but you can't know exactly how a disc is going to fly just by looking at the mold. You have to throw it in order to understand. So we send those to professionals. We test them here. We make tweaks as needed. And then by that time we have an idea what the flight is supposed to be like. I wish we had a robot. It'd be really cool, but we don't.
We do not. Next one is from, this is the same question. Oh, we do have a speak pipe. Hold on.
Nice.
Let's see. This one is from.
You were going to play Cool Daddy Slick Breeze again, weren't you?
Hello, Bobby. Cool Daddy Slick Breeze.
All right. This one's from Zach.
You're the worst.
Hey, Disc Golf Answer crew. This is Zach in North Carolina. First off, let me start by saying that I really appreciate what you guys do. I really look forward to hearing you every week and hanging out in the YouTube chat when I can.
Sweet.
So thanks for everything and keep it up.
Are you on here now, Zach?
Now on to my question. I observed something recently. I'm not sure if it's just in my head or not, but I wanted to see if you guys had a similar experience. I bag a Goldline Fury that I use for kind of right turning backhand shots that imitate a forehand. I don't really have a good distance forehand, so I use that instead. And since I like to try new things, I picked up a Witness, expecting kind of a similar flight, a little bit slower, maybe even a little bit more understable. I figured it would be really good powered down in the woods, things like that. But I found it doesn't want to turn unless I give it a good amount of power. It'll just kind of fly on a hyzer. And then if I give it enough power, it'll really flip and move to the right. So it's almost like there's a threshold there before it starts to turn, where the Fury will turn more progressively. Even powered down, it'll still turn just less. But this Witness doesn't want to turn at all until I get good power on it. Then it just wants to turn into a roller. So is that something with the way the disc is designed? Is that just in my head? I'd be curious what you guys think. Look forward to hearing from you. Thanks.
What do you think, Robert?
That's an interesting question. And yeah, different discs act different ways, obviously thrown at different speeds. Look at a disc like the Thief and the Convict. The Thief and Convict have pretty similar numbers. The Thief is a little bit slower, and now it has turn on the disc, but I'm pretty sure the Convict does as well. And the Thief, when thrown at lower speeds, like my wife likes to throw the Thief a lot, and her max distance probably isn't but 200 feet or 220 or something like that when she really gets a hold of it. And the Thief for her is pretty stable because it has a pretty strong low speed stability. But once you get past a certain point, the high speed understability kind of counteracts the low speed overstability. So if she's throwing that, it acts overstable. But then if Eric Oakley's throwing it, it acts like a roller because it doesn't have much high speed stability. And that may be the case with the Witness as well. I haven't thrown a Witness so slow that it wouldn't turn before. But I think there are just kind of those different thresholds with discs where they have to be at a certain speed to really turn. That's kind of what you see with distance drivers a lot. Guys like AJ Risley, you put a Ballista Pro in his hand and it goes super far and turns to the right and then comes back. But if you put it in somebody like, my hand or someone who throws a little bit less far than me, then a lot of times it's just going to kind of go straight, maybe move even a little bit right, but not a whole lot out of the box unless I force it. It just has to do with the speed and the profile of the disc. And that's going to be different for different arm speeds. Some of those I think have a wider sweet spot. So like you were talking about for you, the Fury just fits a really good sweet spot in your form to where it's natural for it to turn. But yeah, sometimes discs just act different for different people. That's all it is.
All right, this next one comes from Steven. What up, Disc Golf Answer fam? I love the show and thanks for all you do. I've recently switched to a Pure as my main putter and I love the feel.
Sweet.
I do have issues with approach shots with this disc, though, as it doesn't have much glide for me. Getting the power right is tricky, and I have noticed that I have to put more power on it than I'm comfortable with around 100 to 200 feet. Any tips on putters with a similar feel but with more glide? And I don't like the feel of beads or deep rim putters.
Boy, do I have a disc for you. Have you heard
of
the Warden?
The bird.
The Warden is a little bit deeper than the Pure, but I really do think it's probably the correct answer to this. It has a little bit more glide than the Pure. I don't feel like I have to throw it very hard to take advantage of that glide, and it does not have a bead. And so if I was to make a suggestion, all team allegiances aside, I think the Warden is a really good one to try out.
The only thing I don't like about the Warden
is that it's too good for you.
Is that when I throw it, it is my fingers feel like they get wrapped up in the rim.
Get good.
Whatever.
I'm just kidding. It's different for different people, right? Like
Right.
some people, like you love the Deputy. I don't like throwing the Deputy as much because it feels a little shallow for me. But a lot of people make it work. You know,
Well, how would you compare the Pure and the Deputy?
the Deputy is probably around the same depth, but more understable than the Pure.
Okay.
So if you're looking for something to turn a little bit, the Deputy would be a great suggestion, or even maybe the new Latitude 64 Keystone might be a good one as well.
Keystone.
Yeah.
All right. This question is from Zach D. I putt with the Maidens and like the small profile, but from 30 feet out, it is more stable than I want. Is there a disc with a similar feel but less stable, preferably with a bead? But I'll take all suggestions.
I was under the assumption that the Maiden was pretty straight at 30 feet. That's what he said, right? The Maiden?
It just says, but from 30 feet, it is more stable than I want.
But the Maiden is the putter that he's asking about.
yeah.
Yeah. Something with a similar feel, but that's a little bit straighter. Man, it doesn't get a whole lot straighter than that for me. I think, like I said, the Keystone doesn't have a bead. That might be a good one to try out. But if you are specifically looking for a bead, one that might be kind of similar but could give you different results would be the Makana from Latitude 64. It's going to be a little bit deeper than a Maiden, not by a whole lot, but it does have a bead as well. I think a disc like the Marshall might be a similar stability to the Maiden, so I don't think you would see a huge difference in like between that and the Maiden as far as putts go, personally. So you'd want to try something with a little less stability, I think.
So just so you guys know, a lot of you have been asking about fantasy disc golf. We are doing something with Disc Golf Pro Tour and their fantasy disc golf thing they have going on. Steve Dodge is supposed to be getting me more information with that. We are also going to create a Disc Golf Answer Man Skip Ace with
Nice.
Johnny V. We'll have that as well. So we're going to figure out how we're going to incorporate all that different stuff, because Steve Dodge, they do it a little bit differently. Because we make picks and then they battle against our picks type thing.
Yeah.
And that depends on what you can do as far as winning prizes. Now with Skip Ace and Johnny V, basically we just create a group. Is it a group? No, it's a.
Yeah, we create a
Do
group.
they call it a group?
Within we create a group within.
Is that what they call? I thought they called it
with
something
Skip
else.
Ace,
Maybe
yeah.
it's
A league.
League. That's what it is. Yeah, league. We'll create a Disc Golf Answer Man League. We don't have to do it quite yet because my understanding is because of some stuff that happened, they won't count Las Vegas Challenge.
Yeah, but
So-
you do need to get on there for the memorial.
Right. So we'll have one ready for the memorial, and we'll do different things as far as prizes from us. So Disc Golf Pro Tour is kind of working with them, but they'll take care of the prizes and stuff like that. We just got to get our picks in. Skip Ace is us. We'll talk about it and we'll put our picks in, and then we'll give away prizes based on everybody within the pool of the Disc Golf Answer Man League. But you got to be in the Disc Golf Answer Man League. Steve dodging you, Bobby. No, Steve's not dodging you.
So Johnny on the chat says, yes, all your guys are still in from last year. You can join with the code DGAM.
There you go.
Nice.
So Johnny's probably on it already, making the making the league and everything.
Yeah.
Let's see.
But yeah, if you want to join, go type in league code
the game.
DGAM, password DGAM. There you go.
Curran. Hello, fellows.
Hello.
My question is about putting release.
Nice.
I have a hard time consistently releasing my putter at the same angle every time. Sometimes I release it nose down or nose up, causing it to miss the basket. What are 3 keys to creating a clean, repeatable putting release at the correct angle?
Well, you're
Are there any mental, physical drills you do to release the disc at the correct angle?
I mean,
Thanks for all you do.
yeah, thank you. You got more? Keep it real.
You're right.
Okay, cool. So you're asking for 3 keys to get your angle the same every time, and kind of the angle that you release at, and then the spot that you release at consistent every time. And really what you're asking is how to be a good putter, because that's not just one aspect of putting. Like, that's almost all the aspects of putting that are important. Consistency is one of the most important things in putting, is doing the same thing every single time. And so the only way that you can do that, there's not a trick. There's not a easy solve all. It's just you go and practice and you putt the same way so many times until that's the only way that you can putt. I will say even with all that practice, you're going to be crushing it. You're going to be making all your putts. You start really close. You start at 10 feet, you back up to 15, 20, 25, and you're making all your putts from that range. That's awesome. You're going to get out on the course, and I'm going to tell you right now, you're not going to perfectly hit that nose angle and that release point every single time. Plain and simple. So you absolutely need to practice the same thing every time. Decide what you want that to be to start off with. Do you want more of a neutral nose angle? Do you want something a little bit nose up? Do you want it a little bit nose down? Whatever you decide to do, commit to that and then stick with it for at least a couple weeks. Don't go practice and then go out and play around and it doesn't work. And now all of a sudden you're like, this doesn't work. I gotta figure something else out. Commit to it and then practice it, because once that becomes muscle memory, it's much easier to replicate what you were doing in practice out on the course. So yeah, I would just say you absolutely have to practice the same thing over and over and over. And it might not be a bad idea to take a stack of putters and just practice putt really quickly, just so you kind of ingrain that muscle memory instead of treating every putt kind of like a tournament putt for this particular moment. Another thing that you have to do whenever you're putting is follow through. If you don't follow through, you're not going to make it. If you do sometimes you can make it by not following through. You just get kind of lucky, but most of the time, if you don't follow through, you're not going to make it. Plain and simple. So, drill that form as much as you can. And the only way you can do that is practice, and then practice following through every single time. Every single time. Release points are different for different people. You're going to hit at different angles, but if you are following through, it helps a lot. I'd say it's the most important thing.
This one from Annoyingly Anonymous.
Wow. Okay.
In our area, there are tons of mosquitoes and no bug sprays at all. We had purchased some mosquito resistors that clip onto our bags that work pretty well. Wondering if it would be tournament legal since the chemical gets vaporized and has a slight odor. Thanks, Eric McCabe, Robert R. Mac McCall, and Bobby Big Mac Brown.
I mean, yeah. If there were rules against people smelling bad, then a lot of people would get disqualified from tournaments.
I could name a few.
Yeah, right. So it's like, no, that there is not a rule against that unless it was super offensive to somebody to the point where it made them unable to play. You can't disqualify someone for smelling bad, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, I don't think so. Next question comes from, I was looking at fantasy disc golf and not paying attention.
Okay.
Next one comes from Kyle. I'm curious whatever happened to the Latitude 64 Saxon overmold that was listed to be released last year. Did the musket take its place instead?
I don't know if it took its place, but I just know that it was put on hold for some reason. Don't really know what the reason was. I know that's not an entertaining answer, but that's the truth.
Not much else to be said about that.
Yep.
That's all I got. What was it? Forrest Gump. And that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, that's right.
I was looking at Skip.
So here, while you look at Skip Base, I got something for you. All right.
Okay,
so
what is that? Why that one?
Over the course,
Why that one?
Over the course of the winter, we've had some fun with our team putter stuff, with Team Warden, Team Judge, Team Marshal, Team Deputy, all that stuff. And we ran some discs that had those team stamps on them so that you could, pledge your allegiance to one of the putters that you like the best. Obviously, I reside on Team Warden, 100% the best team, and if you're not on our team, you're wrong. But that's beside the point. We are making some more of those putters because it's almost time to play disc golf in a lot of areas. Some people have already been playing disc golf, and if you have, good for you. That's super cool. A lot of us haven't here, but we're about to go to somewhere where it's warm, and that kind of kicks the season off, and we're excited to play disc golf. So we're running some more team stamp putters, and we're going to have those available on the DD Retail site pretty soon. We have made 50 of each of the Warden, Judge, Deputy, and Marshal.
Nice.
They should go live tomorrow, I'm pretty sure. They may not, but I'm pretty sure that's right. For one lucky winner, one lucky Team Warden purchaser of one of those 50, I found, so they're going to be classic hard Wardens in the retail store, but I found this prime,
Burst?
yes,
Okay.
Burst, and they look good. But I found this prime Warden on the shelf, and I'm not sure if you can tell on the screen, but it's the most beautiful Burst disc there ever was. Maybe not the most beautiful, but like it's crazy bursty. Usually you don't see blue and gray together, but they're together in this. And when I saw that, I said, I must have this to stamp with the Team Warden and to give away to somebody. So if you are one of the 50 people, or if you buy more than one Team Warden putter, if you're one of those people who buy those, we're going to keep track of who buys those and randomly send this to one of you who buys a Team Warden putter. All you have to do is buy one of them.
Wow.
And once we make that decision, we'll announce who is going to get it, and then I will send it to you personally. And if you want me to sign it, that's cool. And if you're like, hey, keep your ink off that stupid disc, then I respect that as well. But this is
have me write something on the back of it too.
no, you cannot have Bobby write anything on the back of it. It's very important. Okay. But yeah, just a super cool looking disc. If you're looking to get some Team Wardens and you order some of those, you will automatically be entered into a drawing to get this particular beautiful prime Burst Warden. If you're listening on the audio podcast, gray and blue Burst with a pretty sweet kind of like holographic bluish stamp. It's beautiful.
I'll take a picture of my phone and I'll make it the podcast.
Thumbnail?
Featured image, yeah.
Nice. So yeah, check that out. Go to dynamicdisc.com and pick some of those up. And if you're not a Team Warden guy, then you're dead to me. But also there are Team Judge Wardens. Man, I'm on one. Team Judges on
Almost got my
there.
headache.
Team Deputy, Team Marshal, all that stuff is available on there starting tomorrow, Wednesday, the 20th.
That's what I'm saying, Johnny V. It'd be better if it was a deputy.
It would be better if it was a deputy.
Next one is from Speak Pipe Westy.
Hey guys, this is Westy. My question today is regarding the Raider. I know you're probably getting a lot of questions about it, and I'm just curious what it feels like. If it feels like any other discs in your lineup. I picked up a Defender really hoping that it was going to take a spot in my bag because I throw trespasses right now for my distance driver, but I'm looking for something a little more overstable, but not quite as overstable as the Enforcer. And I just really didn't like the feel of the Defender in my hand. So I was just kind of wondering, since you have thrown the prototypes, if you can let us know what it feels like, what it might kind of feel like in the trilogy or just the dynamic disc lineup. Thanks a lot. Keep it real.
Sweet. Thanks for the question, Westy. So if I understand correctly, you currently throw trespasses. You picked up a Defender to try it out, but you don't want something quite as overstable as that. The Raider is that disc. It is right in between, in my opinion, a trespass and a Defender, or a trespass and an Enforcer. It's got a little bit of turn early in the flight, not so much that you're going to like turn and burn it, but you can tell it's going to move a little bit to the right and then finish to the left. It's got it doesn't turn and burn.
Oh, I was just saying that because you said it. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I thought you were making notes about the Raider.
No.
Will turn and burn. Yeah. So if you haven't, this is a flight that I don't think we've really had in our distance drivers quite like this before. And it goes really, really far. In fact, we had Jordan Castro and Chris Clemens in town a couple of weekends ago, and we went through the Raiders. And on hole 5 at Jones East, it's 470 something uphill. And Eric McCabe goes for it most of the time, gets up there most of the time, but it's a smash. He throws far. And these guys didn't get their best pull on the Raider. Maybe they let it go a little too low or just didn't quite hit it how they wanted to. And all 3 of the ones that we tested were still inbounds close enough to the basket to get an eagle too. This disc will absolutely bomb. And we only have a couple of like true tester prototypes instead of the team prototypes here right now. But as soon as they get here, we're going to be sharing those with our team to get some more feedback, to get them in people's hands. And I think y'all are going to like it a lot. Yeah, right in between a trespass and an Enforcer. And I think it's closer to the speed of a Defender. That's more what it feels like, is that Defender speed 13 rim. It feels really good to me.
All right. We had Bentley send in his Speak Pipe question right at the last minute.
Nice.
see what he has to say.
What's up, Bobby Cool, Daddy Slick Breeze, Eric McCabe, and Robert McCall? Got 2 questions for you. The first one is, I've recently got a Truth and a Maverick, and both fit perfectly in my bag for straight shots.
Sweet.
Just wondering what would fit that slot for a distance driver. Also,
if the Maverick is really straight for you, then your distance driver you'd want would probably be a Renegade. That's what I would check out. Either a Lucid or a Fusion Renegade will probably be more straight than something like a Trespass for you, which will act a little bit overstable if those discs are going very straight for you.
on my forehands, a lot of times I will throw them too low and they burn on the ground and I can't get a full shot out of them.
Worm burner.
So how do I keep this higher? Thanks for all you do, and as always, keep it real.
What you got?
It's hard to say how to get a shot higher other than just to say, just throw it higher, you know? But I think what a lot of people do when throwing forehands especially is it feels like you have to reach back really far, you know, to get a lot of power on the disc. And when you do that, naturally, it feels like you're going to reach back pretty high. And when you do that, you're trying to draw a line to your shot. And when you do reach back pretty high on a forehand, I think that does cause people to try and throw it into the ground. Or you may just be trying to throw it too hard. And when you do that, that's going to make your wrist roll. And a lot of times that's going to force the disc into the ground as well. So if I were you, I would focus on pulling back just kind of at your chest height. Even maybe just a little bit lower than that if you want to. Bend your knees and get down a little bit. You don't want to be standing super duper upright when you're throwing a forehand. And then when you let it go, make sure that your palm is either flat out side to side, like you're slapping somebody that you don't like in the face, or slightly up to the sky. That's going to help your disc to not turn and burn, but rather to get a little bit of extra, distance straight and then finish to the right like it's supposed to.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right, we got one last question. YouTubers, if when you're watching or as you're watching, put your questions in and we'll get to you once we finish the audio portion. But this is the last question of the audio show. This is from Jared. I use a fan grip to putt. I rest my index finger on the bead and then fan my 3 fingers underneath in the middle of the disc. My snap is generated from wrist pop and pressure between my thumb and ring/pinky finger. It's always felt comfortable for me, but I fear I am not going to be as consistent as I develop my putt further. I always hear stick with what's comfortable, but is this a wrong way of doing it? Hashtag team judge.
Well, you've already done something wrong. No, I think there's something to be said for doing what's comfortable, assuming that it's working for you, right? A lot of people would look at somebody like Josh Anthon's putting form and say, that shouldn't work. You're spinning the disc too much. You're bringing it to the side of your body too much, or something like that. I mean, I don't think he actually does that, but they might say that. But the dude's good at putting. So you're never going to say, hey, don't do that, because he jams putts 24/7. You look at, Eric McCabe is a great spin putter who has a lot of wrist action, and it works really well for him. So you're never going to say, hey, Eric, putt a different way, because it's working for him. Assuming that it's working for you, I would stick with it. But if you're having trouble either getting the disc to the basket or if you're having trouble with consistency, then it would probably be worth seeing what you could do to increase that consistency just by going to the putting, to the practice basket. Don't try different stuff during rounds. Definitely don't try it during a tournament round. But just go to the practice basket and try some stuff out. There's nothing on the line. If you miss a practice putt while you're trying to figure something out, who cares? Figure out what works best for you and then just stick with that and improve that. I think my putting form isn't, by any means perfect. I think some people would look at that and be like, hey, that's weird. The way that you putt is weird. You use too much hyzer. Your wrist is weird.
You're just weird.
Well, and that's true across the board. But I generally make a decent amount of putts. And it's because I've honed in my putting form to be the same every single time, or at least close to the same as I can every single time. So yeah, do what works for you.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for sending in your questions. We really appreciate it. Remember, trilogychallenge.com to get your trilogy challenge going. Discgolfmatchplay.com to get some match play playing in or host one in your area. We will not be here next week. We will be at the Memorial.
Yep.
So make sure you follow us on Instagram, Dynamic Discs, on Instagram and on Facebook, because we'll be having some fun out there. We'll also be doing our little vlogs that we like to do. So we'll be back for a third year, season 3 of our vlogging, and this will be our first disc golf adventure together.
And if you're listening to this on Wednesday, February 20th or later, go to dynamicdiscs.com, purchase one of the Team Warden Classic Burst Wardens there, and you have a shot at winning one of the coolest burst discs I've seen. This is a Prime Warden with a Team Warden stamp. One of you will be randomly selected to receive it, so go check those out. And if you want to buy other Wardens while you're there too, hey, that's good. Or other discs, that's good too, but definitely get some Wardens while you're there.
And skipace.com, get signed up for the Disc Golf Answerman League. Just go to join a league and use the code DGAM. Get signed up. The first one we're going to pick for is the Memorial Championships. And we're also going to be working with Disc Golf Pro Tour on some of their fantasy disc golf stuff. So be on the lookout for that information.
Yeah, man.
See ya.
Bye.